Hi, I'm Ildiko Spinfisher. I'm the founder of Life Retuning, a psychological, human energy-based modality which sidesteps the mind. I'm known as the Quantum Wizard. I work with heart-centered entrepreneurs globally to unlock their greatest potential and upgrade their success. I run workshops and courses teaching about energy wisdom. I feel blessed to have the opportunity to share with you on the Be Woke podcast show, and I want to thank you for being here with us today.
Hi everyone, my name is Julie Salant and I am an animal communicator and transformational intuitive coach. My gift is that I am able to see negative energies that are blocking you and remove them with light language and bring in positive energy to bring you back into alignment. I'm also an animal communicator, and I really love talking with Ildiko because she brings the science to what our discussions are, and I'm the intuitive part. Thank you for being here. We're looking forward to having you on all the podcasts. Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Julie Salant and Ildiko Spinfisher. We are thrilled that you are here for another Be Woke episode, and this is episode 3 in our discussion on crystals. And as we've been talking, crystals have become very, very popular lately, more popular than diamonds. That was episode 1. Episode 2 was the amazing quartz crystal, and we are thrilled to do episode 3 for you, which is channeling crystal structures. And this is going to be fun because crystals, if you don't know and haven't listened to the other 2 episodes, which I would love to have you do, they have their own personalities, their own attributes, their own structures. And so we're going to dive deep into this today. Thank you for being here, Ildiko. So happy to have you again.
Thank you very much, Julie, and thank you for being here. And hi everybody. So we are getting into the structures of crystals, because crystals are very extraordinary things. They come obviously from the earth. We mine them. That's how we actually have these, these crystals that we can have in our homes, but they're actually mined by somebody. So, they come from deep within the earth, and they have a very particular structure, which makes them able to help us with the work that we want to do with them. So the crystal structure is actually a lattice. It's a very regular structure. And so what crystals do is they vibrate through that lattice. It's not chaotic like with other substances. It's very, very regular. So that's an important thing to understand. And it looks like crystals don't do an awful lot. I mean, if you pick your crystal up, this one I've got, which is one of my favorite ones. It's actually an amethyst stalactite, to cut through it with malachite in the middle. And this would have been sitting there for probably thousands of years before it was actually mined. So it doesn't look like crystals are doing anything, but actually they do grow, and they grow very, very slowly. So what we need to understand is that there's a structure that keeps repeating itself. But sometimes a crystal can completely change. It can change its color, or it can grow another crystal on top of it and suddenly change things completely. So they can be unpredictable. They do have a life of their own. They are living. It's just that they live at a very different pace to us. So they actually have a lattice structure, which of course is made up of molecules, atoms and molecules. And they have different properties. So if we take, for instance, diamond, because we talked about diamonds in the first episode, and we were discussing how the diamond industry is actually getting a hit, and sales are dropping. But let's look at diamonds from the perspective of the structure and how they're created. So diamonds are very, very tough. You can't break a diamond, and in fact, they'll break other things before they break. And they are created under incredibly intense pressure in the ground. So they're made of carbon atoms, and carbon atoms are stacked very tightly together. And of course, with the pressure of the Earth bearing down, it will bring them closer and closer and closer together. So we get this very, very tough stone in the end. And of course, diamonds have got to be polished in order to reveal that beautiful, shiny quality. But rough diamonds, they don't really look like an awful lot. So they're created by this incredible impact. And the crystal structure of a diamond is actually cubic. Some of them are hexagonal, like quartz, for instance, is a hexagonal shape, but diamond is cubic. So the actual structure, the lattice structure within the crystal is very important for how it will form. And there are actually 7 crystal systems. Now, I'm not an expert on these, but I have touched on understanding a little bit about them. And it's to do with the symmetry of the unit of the cells within that lattice structure. So the systems are hexagonal, like the quartz. We've got the cubic, like the diamond. Then there's a tetragonal, which would be a tetra shape. I think that's like a pyramid shape.
Okay.
And then there are some other types. There's tricynic, monoclinic, orthorhombic, and trigonal. So these are different shapes, and I won't pretend that I know what those shapes are, but I can certainly look them up so that we can get some idea about what these structures are. So I know some of them and all of them. But they really come down to the basic shapes that the Pythagorean shapes that show up in nature, time after time after time. The cube, the pyramid, the octagon. These shapes, the dodecahedron. These are very, very primordial shapes. So crystals follow that pathway too. And there are just so many different types. So I just wanted to share a little bit about the actual physical structure of them and what makes them able to channel the energy through. Obviously, some of them, like quartz, are used in industry because of their particular properties. And some of them, beautiful crystals that we have, can help us to reach our higher consciousness or ground us because of the structure that they have.
That's fascinating. And when I think about crystals, and I was just thinking when you were talking about how when everything was created, the earth has these crystals inside all the way around and through, and how each one's so different and how they change, how they morph, how they grow. And a lot of these things are hundreds of thousands of years old. It takes a long time for these things to grow. And one thing we were showing is, I'd like to show you just a geode, and geode this is just cut in half. So it's basically on the outside, it looks like nothing, but on the inside, it's completely, that's the inside. So beautiful. So the properties are what's interesting to me, because I'm thinking, Ildiko, they all hold a vibration and they all do something different. They have these attributes that help humans, as we were talking about in our last videos. So I'm wondering, does how they're structured, the hexagonal, how's that structure? How does that work with the vibration? It must hold it in a different way.
Yes, so the atoms in the lattice structure will vibrate in a particular way. Okay. So they're quite balanced and harmonious, as opposed to something volatile like liquid that becomes a gas very quickly. It's a solid lattice structure. But one thing that just came to mind is that they do believe that the core center of the Earth is actually crystalline, that there are forests of crystals in the center of our planet.
Really?
Yes, beyond the mantle. And beyond the actual that layer that is almost like metal. There are some that believe that that's core center is a forest of crystals. So the vibrations coming from those massive crystals at the center must affect us. It must affect everything on this planet, if that is correct.
Of course. And then I'm thinking, as the work that we do, which is energy work, intuitive work, and healing work, I'm thinking crystal heart. Everything is about the heart, which we've discussed before in lots of our videos. But I could see the middle of the earth vibrating out really strongly and affecting us in our heart space, which so many of us are waking up to. Yes. That makes a strong correlation for me versus the ego mind, which has nothing to do with the crystals. Wouldn't touch the mind because the mind wouldn't accept that. So what I'm thinking is that this was all created in that way to affect us in our heart space, because now so many of us are awakening, changing, spiritual, people are just changing and waking up and kind of recognizing the things that are and are not working, be it within their own life or the world. We're seeing this through a different lens now, thank goodness.
Yes.
Does that make sense to you, Ildiko, that it would just go, just drive with the heart? It would just connect with your heart.
Totally. If you think about it, crystals were here a lot earlier than we were, billions of years before we turned up. So really, they run the show in that respect. So any life that would have developed on this planet must have had the crystals must have had some input into how we have actually developed and evolved. So because our hearts have, as we have discussed before, this toroidal field, which is a very special structure in space, and the way that it uses and generates energy, it's almost like a dynamo. I really imagine that crystals would align to that on some level that we have not yet had the capacity or ability to measure or register.
I would think. And that's why today so many people are gravitating towards crystals. And that's why even today, even though, as we've discussed, they were hundreds and hundreds, thousands of years ago used back in, the Roman times, even for so many things, as we were saying, on ships, lapis lazuli was ground up for eye makeup, but for their beauty, but deeper than that, their attributes. But what's fascinating to me is the old ways still work. I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to make the bridge of, because when you think about it, lost my little thing here. Still today, they're helping humans after all this time.
Well, crystals haven't changed and we haven't changed. So yeah, it still works.
Still works. The old ways still work, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So the structures are all different. And do you know how people can use these structures to benefit them in their life, or how they would work better with their crystals that they have?
I would say one of the really exciting things would be to visualize that sacred geometric structure. And then when you're meditating, just hold that structure and work with the crystal within that space, because obviously the crystal is made of that structure. So that would be a really nice alignment, I'm sure.
That would be, and I'm thinking of the crystal forest and just thinking about how that would look, and then aligning your heart and your mind with that would be probably just so calm. It feels just very calming, centering, and it would be a great place to start. If you don't feel comfortable, some people find it hard to meditate up to the sky and the moon and above and all that. So you can always go the other way too. And I'm thinking of the crystalline forest, and wow, that would be fantastic.
There are actually, I've seen some video footage of crystal forests somewhere, I think it was in Russia or somewhere like that, where it showed people standing on some of these crystal, looking these kind of crystal structures, the wands, and they are so big that the people look like ants on them. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if it's the same further way down into the core. So yes, I think, grounding yourself down and visualizing the crystalline center of the earth is a beautiful way to meditate.
And I would think that that would make your crystals that you have in your collection stronger, because you're changing your vibration and they absorb what the vibrations around them. So I would think that would be healthy for them as well.
Definitely. They're probably connecting in with the crystal core of the earth all the time.
Yeah.
So they're probably communicating. And we just, it's so interesting, isn't it? When we think about things like the crystal skulls that were created in a way that we can't work out now. Experts can't work out how they were actually created, but yet they speak to people. So what does that really mean, they speak to people? Well, perhaps it's because the shape of the skull created in crystal creates a particular vibrational channel, which then links with our consciousness. And perhaps that's really what's happening with these skulls.
Yes, I agree 100%, because we know that tones of music can do the same thing, can show us doorways, can open paths within us on a cellular level. So I would agree 100%.
The shape of our skulls is resonant. It's precisely because, we speak, we make a sound. So the chamber of our skull is meant to resonate. The bones resonate. Right. So when these skulls were made in this particular shape, there must be some way that they are actually amplifying thoughts or feelings or consciousness.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are almost out of time. We hope this has helped you. This is fascinating. We could talk about this all day long.
Yes.
Ildiko and I could go on and on. And if you like this content and you want us to go deeper, please let us know. Let us know by, you're liking the video, sending us a comment. If you'd like us to kind of dive in, we can go really deep. But this was just to scratch the surface. And I hope that you liked this video on just kind of how crystals are made and just the properties that they have, because it's fascinating. But they are here to help us. So thank you for helping us with this, Ildiko. Thank you for being here on this episode.
Thank you, Julie. I just love these discussions that we have, and I think we cover such fascinating topics that aren't really covered anywhere else. And we just really hope that listeners and viewers out there, that you are fascinated too, and that you do your own research. But certainly, if you have any feedback to share with us, or any questions to ask, we would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.
We would like to take your hand and step into this year in a different, empowered way that no one is discussing. We invite you to come with us on this journey to show you a different way of being, to get to the deep truth of things, instead of having another year of ups and downs with the same patterns. In essence, we are going to help set you up for success.
We have a SMART 2-part experience just for the listeners. And the SMART experience is an acronym for: the S is for simplicity, the M is for motivation, the A is for action, the R is for reconnection, and the T is for transformation. And we are offering an expansive experience, first with Ildiko, who will remove blockages with energy, and then Julie, who will introduce the light language to infuse you with light, clarity, and positive purpose. So this is a large transformation in not only how you'll feel energetically, but also how you will experience and view the world and opportunities that are open to you. And this will be a session with each of us individually. If you'd like more information, please click the link, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the podcast.